All right. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever it may be that you're doing this program. So I want to welcome you. This is exciting. I hope you are excited. This is kind of your first step to making these changes that you want to make to achieve your goals. Let me kind of give a little bit of background here on the way that the course will be set up. So there's different modules, and each module covers one, two, maybe three chapters in the book. The modules, they're all laid out the same way, where I'll have a video presentation that provides the background information. At the end of each chapter in the book, there'll be a section for kind of an application. So we taught the concepts. How do we apply these concepts? Most of the time, applying those concepts relates to going to the planner portion of the book, where you can plan out when you should do things or set goals and that kind of things. And so it's meant to be hands-on. It's meant to be proactive. That's kind of the point of this program. And so um, if you have any questions as you go throughout this program, you can feel free to email me. My website, or my email, is on the website today at 24hourweightlossprogram.com. And I'll get back to you with an answer to your questions. And so let's get started today with module one. So for module one, we're going to go over chapters 1 and 2. There's going to be 2 videos, though. This learning management system doesn't like videos too large, and so this is part 1 of 2 videos that will cover chapter 1. And so let's get into it. So first, let's discuss why the term the 24-hour weight loss program. There is this concept in nutrition and weight loss called chrononutrition. And the idea behind chrononutrition is that instead of focusing so much on the number of calories that somebody's actually putting into their mouth, counting calories, which the ability for people to do that long term is not good. Meaning you'll hear constantly throughout this program, I'm going to talk about can you stick with it? Can you stick with it? It's one thing to have something that can provoke a lot of weight loss, but if you can't stick with it, then it doesn't matter because you're going to gain all of your weight back. We know that when people count calories, after a few months of doing that, their ability to continue to do that, it goes out the window and they gain their weight back. Chrononutrition is the idea of focusing on not so much on what you're putting in your mouth, but when. And so that your body has an ideal time of day to eat, and then certain times of day when it's not meant to eat. And so we need to look at that over a 24-hour period and schedule that into your planner on when you should and should not eat, thus the term the 24-hour weight loss program. I hope that's not disappointing. I hope you didn't think that this meant that you would lose a lot of weight over 24 hours, because that's obviously not the case. The second reason I chose this term, though, is because of this concept of synergy, meaning there are a lot of things that somebody needs to do to lead to long-term weight loss. It's not easy. Anybody that sells you something, some snake oil that says you'll lose a ton of weight, all you have to do is swallow a pill, go ahead and spend all the money you want on those pills, but that's foolish. It's never going to lead to long-term weight loss. Instead, it takes a lot of things. You got to focus on sleep, on exercise, on eating right, on stress management, and the list goes on. And so to do that, weight loss really is a product of your daily decisions, all of the decisions that you make throughout a 24-hour period. Again, the planner is supposed to be there as a tool to help you make the correct decisions over a 24-hour period. And we plan that ahead 24 hours in advance. So that's the idea with the name. Now, a little bit of the psychology of this, the background. So I took these from Stephen R. Covey, his book, his famous book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you've not read the book, I suggest you do so. I mean, it's a wonderful read. But I've taken some of these concepts that he discusses and I've related them to weight loss here for our discussion today. The first principle that he discusses is this concept of being proactive. He talks about the thing that distinguishes a human from an animal. Take a dog. A dog could be an ill-tempered dog. That's just the way the dog is. It's the make, it's the breed, that's the dog. That's not so for us as humans. We have the ability to change. I teach an exercise physiology course here at the university, And in this course, there's a math section, and often students will say, well, Dr. Ziegler, I'm just not good at math. And when they do that, what they have just done is they have said that they will never be good at math because they've told themselves they can't do it. That is a reactive mindset. Let's relate this to weight loss. I just don't have time to exercise. Okay, well, you're reacting to your external circumstances and you never will then. You'll never achieve your goals. I'm addicted to sugar. All right, that's reactive. You're saying it's not up to you. There are so many of these mindsets, and we have to move away from a reactive mindset to a proactive mindset. Let's look at some of these. And so I kind of brought up this one. I'm a sugar addict, so I have no choice on what I put in my mouth. Reactive versus changing that to I'm in charge of my appetites. I don't need sugar to be happy. So you have to train your mind to take that proactive mindset. I don't have time to exercise. That's one of the biggest things that's been reported to stop people from exercising. Reactive versus, okay, I will wake up 1 hour earlier to exercise. Proactive. I don't like exercise. Some people don't. Some people don't like the feeling of it. They don't like that it makes them uncomfortable. Maybe it's sore the next day, whatever the reason is. But again, that's reactive versus exercise is an activity I will do daily to help me achieve my goals. Hard is good as it helps develop my character. I just have not found the magic cure yet. That's extremely reactive. That's suggesting that there is one out there. It's somebody else's job to find it and present it to me. Versus there is no magic cure for weight loss. I'll take responsibility and work hard to lose weight. Last one, I just need to find the right person to correct my problems. Right. And here I am being the person that's hoping wants to correct your problems, but the reality it isn't me, right? I'm going to present all this information to you. And I firmly believe that if you apply this information, you'll achieve your goals, but you have to do it. So we have to move from the person to I take ownership of my weight and will take complete responsibility for my weight loss. So the first thing that you need to do in this program is you need to say what reactive mindset concepts am I taking in my life? It might be some of these, it may be other ones. And then you need to change that to be more proactive. And so here's the first kind of little activity I want you to do. Now, this that I'm looking at, that I'm showing you here, this right here, this is found in the planner portion of the book. Okay, so you can turn there and pause the video if you want, but I want you to ponder and to meditate and to think of some proactive statements that you can live by. Again, I gave you examples in the prior slide, but what are some that are specific to you? What are some reactive things that you sometimes tell yourself that's stopping you from achieving your weight loss goals? Then change those to be proactive. Now, in the planner, you're going to tell yourself these statements constantly. That's the idea of the planner. My goals, these proactive statements, they're in front of me because the idea is that your brain is malleable. You can exercise your brain just like you can exercise your muscles. And this is part of exercising your brain to change the way you think. Go ahead and pause the video and fill out these proactive statements. And I'm going to move on. Okay, the second concept that Covey covers is to begin with the end in mind, meaning what's your vision? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And it really isn't just 50-pound weight loss. Honestly, I've worked with a lot of people to try to lose weight, and some have been successful, some have not. The ones that are most successful, their vision isn't just, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds. Yes, we want a weight loss goal, but the vision has to do with them. They want to feel different. They want to function different. The reason that they're doing it, and the reason is key. And that leads to this second concept. Well, not second concept, but this concept that helps us know how to begin with the end in mind. Stephen R. Covey says to be able to do this, we have to identify what our center is. What does that mean? Well, some people are work-centered, meaning their value, their feelings of joy or sadness, it's centered on their work life. Some people are home-centered. Some people are spouse-centered. If their spouse is happy, they're happy. If their spouse is sad, they're sad. Some people are pleasure-centered. Okay, it's all about seeking pleasure. Some people are church-centered. Some people are self-centered. There's a lot of different centers. But Stephen R. Covey argues, which in my mind makes complete sense, that we need to be principle centered, meaning we need to find these timeless principles that are internal to us. They're important to us. We live by them, because once we do that, we then relate our actions to our principles. Let me give you an example. For me, here's some principles that I live by that help me try to maintain a body weight that I feel like is healthy for me. The first principle is commitments to myself. If I make a commitment to myself, a principle that I live by is I'm going to keep that commitment. So because I live by that principle, when I want to, cheat or do whatever, I have to then acknowledge, am I breaking this principle that I live by? Another principle that I live by is treating our bodies as a temple. I believe our body is a gift from God, and I should treat it as such. And so am I going to abuse this body by overindulgence? That's a principle I live by. Avoiding everything in excess is another principle that I live by. I think that's important. There's very little, I call them black and white foods, meaning it's very hard to say, oh, you can never eat this food again. That's the number one predictor of binge eating, by the way. But eating, say, Oreos in excess, I don't think there's an issue if you eat a stinking Oreo. But if you eat a whole roll of Oreos, obviously that's an excess. That's a principle I live by. We avoid that. Another principle I live by is choosing joy regardless of the scale. So say you step on the scale in 1 week, you don't lose any weight. Heaven forbid it ticks up a little bit. Oh my goodness, I sink into this depressed state. No, a principle you live by is I'm going to choose to be joyful or happy regardless. Okay, those are principles I live by. You can adopt some of those, but again, here's another activity I want you to do. And again, you can find this little handout. This is in part 2 of the book. I want you to come up with principles that you live by. You'll have to think about this. This is important. Guys, if you don't deal with the psychological side of weight loss, you will never have success. I'll give you an example of that coming up here with bariatric surgery in a second, but you have to do this. What are principles that you live by? So go ahead and pause the video and ponder upon these. Again, I put a couple that are important to me, but I want you to think of others that are important to you. These will be, these are spread out throughout your planner in part 2 of the book. That way you're continually refreshing and thinking about these. So go ahead and ponder on this. I'm going to move on to this third principle that Covey states. The third principle is to put first things first. I gave this training at the university, and they said, Zach, I want you to give a training on how to get more done. Everybody wants that, right? How are we more effective to get things done that we need to do? And I did not talk about, make checklists and things, which I like checklists, but really, I focused on the concept. I took this from a church leader of mine, good, better, and best. There are a ton of good things in life that you can do. There are fewer better things that you can do. And then there are even fewer best things that you can do. You need to find the best things in life and you schedule those first. Everything else takes a back seat. Everything else. Let me read this statement from Covey. In order to maintain the discipline and the focus to stay on track towards our goals, we need to have the willpower to do something when we don't want to do it. We need to act according to our values rather than our desires or impulses at any given moment. The key right here, I think, is important. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. That's the key. Schedule your priorities. Now, your priorities, I hope, isn't only weight loss, right? My number one priority is my family. I do prioritize my church and those kind of things. So those are priorities, and I do have to schedule those. But then you have to schedule these weight loss things that you need to do, exercise and eating. That's why the planner, in my mind, is so important. Things which matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least. Binge watching TV all night. Oh, I don't have time to exercise, but I do have time to watch 5 seasons of a Netflix show every single night. Oh, I don't have time to exercise, but I can sit on my phone and look at social media for 2 hours every day. We need to prioritize the things that are most important. All right, I'm going to pause this video because, again, this learning system doesn't like much longer than 15 minutes of video. And then we're going to go to part 2, and we're going to continue this discussion.